Alright guys, here we go. It's About Time by M.A. Larson. This. Time travel episode time. Thoughts going into this? I think the first time that I actually saw this was on premiere day. Very, very cool March. A very nice March day. I don't know. I think at this point it was like, oh, hey guys, are you still talking about the Derpocalypse? What are you talking about? That was the theory of the fandom at this point. So yeah, it's about time. Another one of the great episodes of M.A. Larson as a writer. So, let's do this. While trying to schedule time to create a schedule, Twilight Sparkle is visited by a version of herself from the future. I have no idea what day it is, but apparently Twilight, the future Twilight, is from next Tuesday. I've had a really, weird trouble of saying, next Tuesday, next certain day. Next certain day makes sense when it's exactly a week from now. A week from when you say it. For instance, I say, oh, next Sunday I'll be doing yada yada yada. That makes sense because this episode is on a Sunday. This episode was recorded on a Sunday. I don't know if I said the date or not. It's November 17th, 2013, by the way. Because this episode was recorded on a Sunday, I can say next Sunday and mean the upcoming Sunday. The thing is, if I say something like, oh, next Thursday, next Thursday, blah, 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 and it's not all that specific, unless it's talking about a certain holiday and you already know when that's happening, next Thursday, yada, 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 you don't know if I'm talking about, in the current day standard. I could say, oh, next Thursday, this happens. Well, how am I supposed to know that that's not, Thanksgiving? How am I supposed to know that that's the 21st of November instead of the 28th of November in, current times? How am I supposed to know that, So, next Tuesday could mean anything. It could be the upcoming Tuesday. It could be, 2 Tuesdays from now. I don't really like people saying that. I just think that they should go, oh, well, I'm from the 16th of this month. I'm from the 20th of this month. I'm from the 31st of this month. I'm from the first day of the next year, So, I think that's how it should be when they do something like that, but then, of course, they'll know what date they're from, so, I don't know. Everyone would. Anyway, so yeah. Future Twilight looks like she's been through a disaster. She tries to, again, next Tuesday, she tries to issue a dire warning to present Twilight, but is sucked back into the time-space vortex before she can finish. And, of course, everyone at this point was making the Doctor Who jokes, this Metal Gear Solid Snake jokes, when the clip for that whole thing came out the first time. When that happened, and they were like, oh my god, Doctor Who, when the episode was announced. When they showed Future Twilight for the first time, everyone was like, oh, Solid Snake! Oh my god, Metal Gear Solid! Ah, Metal Gear. So anyway, Twilight deduces that some major disaster must have befallen Equestria, and spends the next few days trying to disaster-proof Ponyville. They get everything done, and then, Cerberus! The dogs of hell show up! The guard dogs of hell, Cerberus, shows up. The three-headed guard dogs of hell shows up in Ponyville. Only confirming more Greek mythology in this universe. Cerberus, Tartarus, the gates of hell, in a sense. Yeah. So, that whole thing happens. But despite Twilight Sparkle's best efforts, it looks like the future isn't unfolding in the same manner that caused future Twilight to bear a scar, crazy haircut, bandage, or head bandage, whatnot, an eye patch. Twilight becomes frantic, realizing that she's failing at preventing the future and tries even harder to put off the inevitable. So what she does is, okay, so normally there's disaster-proof Equestria. I got this scar on my cheek. Well, I got this scar on my cheek, or a little bit like near my nose, like around here while I was out. Of course, by I mean Twilight. I'm gonna do nothing. Spike's eating ice cream. I can't do anything. I had to stay still. Something happens. Spike tries to move me, and he sneezes fire on me and basically burns my hair into that hairdo. And then, at this point, Las Pegasus and Baltimore are finally on the map of Equestria. And just so you guys know where they are on the map, Philadelphia, Baltimore. Hold on, Horseshoe Bay. Right. So that is Baltimore. That right there on my finger is. That up here is right there is Baltimore. And on the completely different side, there's Las Pegasus. Not really Hollywood, or Applewood, apparently, like Los Angeles, but apparently it's actually supposed to be Vegas. I don't actually know which one it is, but either one does work. It's just that, Unicon had to have the Las Pegasus version in it, and EQLA didn't. So whatever. Anyway, so the bandage thing. Let's try to predict the future. Pinky, what can you tell us? Oh, nothing. Future telling isn't actually the same as Pinky sense. Tail twitch, suddenly flower pot to Twilight's head, and then she has to get the head bandage. And the eye patch, Twilight's basically failed at everything, so what she does is monitor everything. So, monitor everything. That was the April Fool's Day joke, 2013. That's what it was. For those who didn't get the reference, that's what it was. For Equestria Daily, of course. If you guys saw that, that was just weird and crazy. I was like, wait, what? And then there's The Onion and Fox, and I'm like, oh. They're putting up everything. And they're putting up everything that we've been on, bad or good. They're putting up CNN, they're putting the place where we started, and I can't say it on the internet, yada yada yada. The Four-Leaf Clover website, let's just say. And unfortunately, she looks into the sun through her telescope, basically making her, for now, blind in one eye. So Pinky pulls out of a random crease of a random cavern, like a random hole, somewhere in Twilight's library. She pulls out an eye patch. Just like how earlier, she pulled out, like, a toy ball out of a tree. Apparently, there are such things as ball emergencies and eye patch emergencies in Ponyville, and Pinkie Pie's apparently prepared for it. I mean, this is the same pony who tried to run whilst just floating off the ground with like 5, 7, maybe like 10 balloons on her back, and she was trying to run, but she was actually like floating just a little tiny bit off the ground, and she was just like, like usually you're just like boom, 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 but she was just like, anybody want to run and tear with me? No? So, anyway, with that happening, the only solution seems to be a spell to time travel into the future. No, what? No, it's not. It's to stop time, guys. So, then the suit Then she puts on the suit so that no one would recognize her, and she could sneak in easily through the guards and sneak into Canterlot Library, in the Star World, the Bearded section. They couldn't find it, and then they're like, oh crap, it was the place where we got it. We got in the same window that was just across from it. Also, she runs into a guard, and he's like, oh, hi, Twilight. Oh, hello, Miss Twilight Sparkle. Just walks off. Like, okay, so you're Twilight Sparkle, and you're friends with her, and you can get into wherever you want. Thanks, Celestia. Anyway, so they get into the room, they can't find a spell that can stop time, and then, but Twilight and her friends can't find one before anyway, so yeah, they can't find it. Twilight and her friends, or at least Twilight, Pinkie, and Spike, can't find one before the morning of future Twilight's vague warning, the Tuesday morning. To everybody's surprise, or at least Twilight's surprise apparently, I guess, no disaster occurs. Twilight realizes she had been worrying over nothing and should have let the future handle itself. She learns that future Twilight was only trying to warn her not to worry so much. Why? Because she becomes future Twilight. Also, Celestia walking just like, oh, morning Twilight Sparkle, how are you doing today? Celestia! Anywho. So yeah, so basically, she becomes future Twilight, and what she thought future Twilight was saying was, whatever you do, don't do this, because it's going to create a gigantic disaster. But present Twilight couldn't have future Twilight say that, because present Twilight was just like, how is this all possible, yada yada yada. So, she basically got cut off. She didn't have enough time. So now present Twilight goes back to the future. No, back to the past, actually. So now present Twilight becomes past Twilight, and future Twilight becomes present Twilight. So present Twilight tries to relay that same message to past Twilight that future Twilight sent to her as present Twilight. Yeah, wibbly wobbly timey wimey. She gets cut off again. Whatever you do, don't worry so much about everything. That's what she was trying to say. She's like, oh, now I get it. I could have, really? And she can only perform it once. The spell is only able to be performed once, so she can't go back and say, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Time stream is completely rearranged. So, anyway, friendship lesson. Dear Princess Celestia, I couldn't stop worrying and let the future handle itself. Well, not anymore. From now on, I'm going to solve problems as they come and stop worrying about every little thing. Twilight Spark. And that's the episode there. Mitch episode. So, what did I think of this episode in that way? I really liked it. It was hilarious. It was funny. I gotta keep this short here because I've wasted a lot of time here. I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was perfect. It was great. I just love the comedy that happened in this episode. And it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool to learn about time travel in that sense, and learn that there actually is a spell to stop time, possibly, and a spell to do time travel, in Ponyville. And Canterlot and Equestria, but whatever. Honestly, I have to give this episode 9.1. It was really good and another close to perfect episode. And this is where the episodes start getting really, really good, guys. So, up next, hopefully to continue that streak, is Dragon Quest, Spike's first major episode. If you don't include Owl's Will That Ends. Well, I gotta find a way to fix this page, because this is just horrible. Later, guys.